in my heart. You put this love in my heart. You put this love in my heart. You put this love in my heart.
I find it hard to believe someone like you cared for me. You put this love in my heart. I tried but could not refuse. You gave me no time to choose. You put this love in my heart. I wanna know where the bad feelings go when I'm depressed and I get down so low, and then I see you coming to me and it's alright. I wanna tell you right now, I'm not afraid to say how you put this love in my heart. There are some times when I doubt, but you always find me out. You put this love in my heart. Cause when I see all that you've done for me, it's hard to doubt, I just have to believe, God, you follow me, proving all of your love. Well, I know the loneliness I had before is gone now. I'm never feeling anymore, because your loving has released me from all that's in my past. Forsaken, your love is gonna last. Oh, there's so much more I can say if I could just find a way. You put this love in my heart. It's all this real or a dream. I feel so good I can scream, and you put this love in my heart. I wanna know where the bad feelings go when I'm depressed and I get down so low, and then I see you coming to me and it's alright. You put this love in my heart. 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 You put this love. You put this love. You put this love in my heart. You put this love. Put this love. You put this love in my heart. You put this love. You put this love. You put this love in my heart. 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 In my heart. In my heart. You put this love. You put this love in my heart. 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 You may be ambassador to England or France. You might like to gamble, or you might like to dance. You may be the heavyweight champion of the world. You may be a socialite with a long string of pearls, but you're gonna have to serve somebody.
Serve somebody.
Yes, you're gonna have to serve somebody.
Serve somebody.
Well, it may be the devil, or it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody.
Serve somebody.
You might be a rock and roll addict prancing on a stage. You might have drugs at your command, women in a cage. You may be a businessman or some high degree thief. Well, they may call you doctor, or they may call you chief, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Yes, you are. You're gonna have to serve somebody.
Serve somebody.
Well, it may be the devil, but it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. a state trooper. You might be a young Turk. You may be the head of some TV network. You may be rich or poor. You may be blind or lame. You may be living in another country under another name, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Yes, you are. You're gonna have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, but it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Cotton, you might like to wear silk. You might like to drink whiskey, or you might like to drink milk. You might like to eat caviar, you might like to eat bread. You may be sleeping on the floor, sleeping on a king-size bed, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Yes, you are. You're gonna have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, well, it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, well, it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. It may be the devil, but it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. Yes, you're gonna have to serve somebody. Oh, you're gonna have to serve somebody. God shines His light on me, opens up my eyes so I can see. When I look up in the darkest night, I know everything's gonna be alright. In deep confusion, in great despair, when I reach out for Him, I know He's there. When I am lonely, as I can be, I know that God shines His light on me. Reach out for Him, and He'll be there. With Him your troubles you can share. If you live the life you love, you get the blessings from above. He heals the sick, and He heals the lame. Says you can do it too, in Jesus' name. He'll lift you up, and He'll turn you around, and He'll put your feet back on higher ground. Reach out for Him, and He'll be there. In your troubles you can share. You can use His higher power every day and every hour. He heals the sick, and He heals the lame. Says you can do it too, in Jesus' name. He'll lift you up, and He'll turn you around, and He'll put your feet back on higher ground. Oh, whenever God shines His light on me, opens up my eyes so I can see. When I look up in the darkest night, I know everything's gonna be alright. In deep confusion, in great despair, when I reach out for Him, I know He o'clock on a Sunday. Regular crowd shuffles in. There's an old man, he's sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. He said, "Son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes. La 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 la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling all right." Now John at the bar, he's a friend of mine. He gets me my drinks for free, and he's quick with a joke. He'll light up your smoke, but there's some place that he'd rather be. Oh, yes, John, I believe this is killing me, as a smile ran away from his face. Oh, I know I could be a big movie star if I could get out of this place. La 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 la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling all right. It's a pretty good crowd. All 8 of you. Are there 9?
A few more than that.
Oh, no. Is it a bad night tonight, Sue?
They're all tuning in. They're all tuning in,
but they never come in for Piano Man.
They all know what you're going to play.
I put my life and soul into this, all right?
No, you're going to have to play something different to start with.
I'll tell you what I'm going to have to do is change this mouth organ. Listen.
Please. It's horrible.
Isn't it?
It's really horrible.
Oh, it's really horrible, isn't it? I have a good mind to. Do you know what I'm going to do? And make an executive decision.
You haven't asked the manager.
You see this? Here we go. Gone.
Hooray!
Right, it's gone.
Oh, I've been wanting to do that for a while.
Have you deliberately maltuned it? Maltuned?
Maltuned.
Is there a Victoria Moyes, if you're listening?
Is there a
I look to you as my musicologist on the because the rest of them haven't got a clue. But can I just ask you, Victoria, is there such a is there any word called maltuned?
Or anyone else? Do you know if there's a maltuned?
Maltuned? Now everybody's going to go on their Google now and go maltuned. Now we have a great song the evening for you tonight, so don't disappear. I'm going to take this off now. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to say it's a pretty good crowd for a Sunday. Is midwife? Kill the midwife.
I don't know, darling. I don't know, and I don't care.
You don't. You haven't watched it for ages, have you?
I have not watched it for years.
No. What's going
I
on
lost
with
interest.
this?
I lost interest when it was during lockdown, and they were a long way away from each other. It all looked a bit odd.
It's very interesting, isn't it? I wonder what other stuff we lost interest in during lockdown, and that's another thing. There are loads of things I'm going to ask you tonight, right, to write in. For the 12 people that are in, I'm going to ask you to write in. There are lots of people watching on YouTube right now, and you can see a big JV, and you kind of think, is that a good idea? Don't get too close to the television. Take your glasses off. I look better from a distance. Okay, that's generally the truth. But I hope you like. Do you like my trendiness? You like this? Look, it's sharp, isn't it? I listened to what Helen Coleman said last week. She said, "Oh, you look sharp." You see, look.
Was it Helen Coleman or Helen Thomas?
Was it Helen Thomas? Right. Look,
Oh, you got your
and I just want to do a big shout out to my mother, who found someone who can do these, because they have to be all tied differently, and so she found it.
She did.
And she gave it to me when we went to see her last Monday.
We did.
I'm going to go and see her tomorrow. So, Mum,
Hello.
Here it is.
Hello, Mum.
Hello, Mum. And there it is, you see, from New Zealand. Now, many people ask me what this is from, and if you remember the reason when we were in New Zealand, I did work with the Maori people, with the Maori children in particular, and for the work that we did with the Maoris, the chief wanted me to have this to put around my neck, and so he gave it to me, and you can only be given it. You can't buy these ones, which is a very special thing. And it's called, what's it called, Sue?
I can't remember. I cannot
If somebody
remember.
can remember what that is.
Derek Phillips,
Miss
bless
Tune.
him, kind Derek Phillips has said, maltuned is not in the dictionary, but it makes linguistic sense. Thank you, Derek.
Derek, I'm loving you. And Matt, this is Derek Phillips, who's going to be with us on the 5th of March, live from Bristol. He's going to come all the way down from Bristol with his lovely wife, and they're going to be in the studio. Well, Derek's going to be in.
In the Steinway room.
In the Steinway room itself, I know. The enormous Steinway room.
Standing on the other side of the
Steinway room. Remember that the way we're going to monetize this is we are going to do tours of the Steinway room, extensive tours. They last a day. The first 2 hours will be me giving a lecture before we get into this room about the formation of the room, the wiring. Then there's going to be a 3-hour lecture from Rachel on how to wire a room, all right? And you have no idea the trouble we had just wiring this mic that I've got to use today. And so all of that. And then the last 30 seconds of the day will be the tour of the Steinway room. Okay? And then you'll be ushered out of the door very quickly, having removed at least 25 quid for the tour, right? It's the way, it's my pension, okay, guys? It's my pension. Think about it that way.
Anyway, going back.
It's a pretty good crowd for a Sunday.
Sorry, anyone who is under 8 minutes, you're in dead
And the
trouble
manager,
now.
well, she gives me a smile. I say every week, but I do like your hair like that.
Thank you, darling.
Your mother doesn't, does she?
No, my mother, bless her. Every time I see her, I think because she has dementia, she forgets that I have longer
You're
hair
not
now,
12,
and
yeah.
she remembers my hair shorter. And she said to me, she didn't say very much of anything last week. Just I really. And then all of a sudden she turned to me and she said, "Your hair is long." I said, "Yes, it is." And she
You're going to get it cut.
She said, "No." She said, "Have you got an appointment with a hairdresser soon?"
I love that kind of thing. Because she knows that it's me. They've been coming to see, well, a little bit of you, to forget about life. And of course, our special guest tonight, Cindy Kent, all the way from Kent. I think, or London this time.
Now, yes.
For a while. Oh, and the piano, it sounds like a carnival. And the microphone, it smells like a beer. And he sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, "Man, what are you doing here?" La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la, la la. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling all right. And as the keys die away, once again we welcome you to... That sounds like Just a Minute, you know what it is? I can't remember. It's been the ages.
Variation on a
What can I
theme.
say?
Can I just say,
That's what it's
Jerry
just-
has come up with a great idea. He said, monetize the Steinway room by putting people into a blindfold,
Yes,
and then they have to go around and guess where
they are.
they are in the
Steinway
Steinway room.
room.
I sort of pin the mic on the piano kind of thing,
Yeah,
or pin the
okay.
mic on the JV.
There could be devastation in this room. It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those those who can easily hide. I don't have much money. Boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, or a man who makes potions in a traveling show. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is when you're in the world. Well, I kicked off the moss, got the moss with a few of the verses, well, they got me quite cross. But the sun's been quite kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on. So excuse me for getting, but these things I do, well, you see, I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean, yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is when you're in the world. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is when you're in the world.
That got
Been
lots
a
of
wise, long time
lots
since
of
I've had
hearts for that one tonight. People really enjoyed that one.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah. It's a long time since you've done it. It's
It
lovely.
is, isn't it? It's that
Really
kind
good.
of. She packed my bags last night,
Oh,
pre-flight.
doo.
That's the one. 0 hours, 9 a.m. And it's gonna be high. Ooh, ooh yeah, as a kite by then. I miss the earth so much, I miss my wife. It's lonely out in space on such a timeless flight. Oh, oh, oh. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man that think I am at home. Oh, no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Rocket man burning out the fuse out here alone. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. I used to play this all the time, remember? Yeah, but about 50 years ago. And now it's too high. I can't sing it anymore. I wasn't going to do that. That was not in the list. Okay.
No, we noticed. Rachel
No.
and I noticed that. You know, Owen, you know your suggestion about an Elton John evening? I think we might have just hit it.
going to play that one either. I used to play this, for those of you who don't know, in clubs and in restaurants in southwest London when I was in university. So when I had hair, good looking, trim.
I know, that's
I had
the JD I fell in love with.
two of my own kidneys. Back in the day. That was, and now, I think actually, so those are the people, that's for Owen, actually, he likes a little bit of song.
Michael Cooper enjoyed that too. He asked for
Michael Cooper?
Yeah, Michael Cooper loves it.
Michael Cooper, now you asked if I could do one as I once was. If you asked for
way
this.
off
Come
the
with
list now.
me back to where I started from, and I know you'd agree. A miracle of love that brought me safe into this place, made me what I am today, just an old sinner saved by grace. I'm just a sinner saved by grace. In tune, I'll sing the harmony. When I stood condemned to death, He took my place. Now I live and breathe in freedom. With each breath of life I take, loved and forgiven, back with the living. I'm just a sinner saved by grace. And that was for you last week, and I didn't sing it, but also for Peter Southcombe, who's tuned in, and Ruth, and it's just a lovely reminder of for many people, that song. Now, something completely different, back to the programme. Another thing I used to do. I think Peter Jewell, you asked for this.
I think, Victoria, this might be the one for you.
Why? recognise that.
Well, that's made a lot of people very happy. Very happy.
What's the time? 22.
It is 22 minutes.
And don't forget, chaps, those of you who are out making cups of tea and everything else, we work on a special guest in about half an hour. Sydney Kent, OBE, MBE, I don't know, one of those.
Jolly good fellow.
Jolly good fellow. Anyway. And she's got a great story to tell. She was the lead singer of remember the band, The Settlers, which celebrates 60 years this year, and we're going to talk to her about her life, her career, the things that she's got up to in the meantime, and she's got up to a lot. She's been with us right in the early days, and when it was on the phone, I seem to remember it was.
She was.
Yes.
She was. Oh, we've evolved haven't we?
I'm going to sing a song now. This one, two romantic songs together. All right, and then I'm going to put the wind beneath my wings after this one, and the second one will be for Rob and Di. Rob and Di, and the Barons have been with us from the early times,
from the start,
early times of
very
COVID.
First one.
The very first one, and on and off, and mainly on, and it's been lovely having them with us. And it's their what was it? What anniversary was it? I'm going to find out. Oh, because I can't get that wrong. And it was here we go. Here we go. That's our 35th wedding anniversary on Monday.
35 years, guys.
35 years. Babies, but still 35 years.
Oh. We've actually known you both for quite most of them, I think.
But that will be the second song. This song, this one, I'll sing this one for you too, because we listened to it the other day, didn't we? Songs of the 70s and 80s, and we were going through the car, singing our heart out with our dear friend Roger Sutton, who we
had a
lovely few days away with, and pointed out the wickedness of singing My Lighthouse, the song My Lighthouse. He's a great theologian, my friend, and he warns that don't go near the lighthouse, go away from the lighthouse, stay away from the lighthouse, don't come near the lighthouse. In fact, he sent me, it was quite amusing today, he sent me a few lighthouse jokes. Here we go. How many people does it how many people does it take to change a light bulb? It's just one of the questions I should have asked before buying a lighthouse. That's classic. That's brilliant, isn't it? There was a lighthouse owner that noticed the tide was coming way too high and might wash away his home. So he called 911 or 999. It was an emerging sea. That's not so good. That's
one for you, Andy Hatvarney.
What did the ocean say to the lighthouse? Answer, nothing. It just waved.
Wave?
It's not funny though, is it? That's not funny. Ross.
That's a granddaughter joke, really.
It really is, actually. And he's put one more, but I just want to get that one out of the way. He's done the picture, and I want to read it here. And it's the picture of a guy in a lighthouse, great lighthouse there, and he's on the phone, and he's saying, and you guarantee it's free if it isn't delivered within 30 minutes. I like that one too. That one's for you, Gareth Hill. So don't sing My Lighthouse, go away from my lighthouse, all that stuff. My children sing it, and nobody ever, they just go, my lighthouse. Before you put your hands up in the air, think about what you're singing, all right? That's my. We attended a funeral the other day, and I thought actually, it was lovely attending Steve's funeral, wasn't it?
It was lovely. It's very special.
It was a special.
It's very special.
We've got it's a season of funerals.
Season of funerals.
But we remember Lynn, who won't be watching today, but actually we just remember her down in Pagham. This one, so it's for you. I haven't done this one before. This is an Insta arrangement, so here it goes. And I love you so. People ask me how I've lived till now. I tell them I don't know. I guess they understand how lonely life has been. But life began again the day you took my hand. And yes, I know how lonely life can be. The shadows follow me, and the night won't set me free. And I don't let the evening get me down. Now that you're around me. And you love me too. Your thoughts are just for me. You set my spirit free. I'm happy that you do. The book of life is brief, and once a page is read, all but life is dead. That is my belief. And yes, I know how lonely life can be. The shadows follow me, and the night won't set me free. But I don't let the evening get me down. Now that you're around me. Oh, and yes, I know how lonely life can be. The shadows follow me, and the night won't set me free. But I won't let the evening get me down. Now that you're around
Wow.
Let's have the next song.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Beautiful.
Wind Beneath My Wings. This one is for them, for Di and Rob, but also a song I recorded for Sue back in the day in Nashville, Tennessee. Here it was live. Remember this, Sue? Must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory. You were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. Oh, I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed. I've got it here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? Everything I would wish to be. Oh, I can fly higher than the eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. Did I ever tell you you're my hero? Everything I would like to be. Oh, I can fly higher than the eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. Fly.
Congratulations, Rob and Di. Happy anniversary on Monday.
And here's a video.
And here's a video.
This is your moment. Young people, can I just point out the people that are going, oh, oh, Brian, he's playing our song. Lovely. And there are those of you young people going, I don't know what it's like, man. I don't know what he's talking about, you know? Like, it's totally not my music, you know, man? And those of you from Surrey say, I don't know what any of this is about, to be perfectly honest. London, 1964. Jim Reeves. Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone That's what we used to do. We used to start on Tuesday and finish on Wednesday, I know. It's a great technique. And let's pretend that we're together, all alone. Remember the backing singers? They were hired, job lot from Star Trek. Remember that? You like that one? That's good. And now the thing is about that tonight, this is your opportunity. Shine the lights on them, Nigel, baby. Give them. On the other hand, just turn the lights off. But that's better. That's better. But no, right, bring them up a little. And then what you're going to do is you're going... Try that for me. So none of you have had a musical education as such. So here we go. You're going to put it in all the right places, okay? I want feeling with this. I want emotion. Obviously, you just do what you can with what you've got. Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone. Let's pretend that we're together, all alone. It's okay, it won't go in the DVD. I'll tell the man to turn the jukebox way down low. That is very sexy, isn't it? Be honest. You're all sitting there saying, Brian, why can't you sing like that? Brian, you could. £25 an hour, I can help you. And you can tell your friend there with you, he'll have to go. It doesn't get any better, that's the frightening thing. Listen, sweetheart, tell me, do you love me true? Or is he holding you the way I do? All right, now I want you now to imagine you're at a concert, okay? So I want you to put your hands in the air for me now. Put your hands in the air, there we go, right? And now I want you to go this side, and then to that side, right? Then from this side, and down to that. That includes you, sir. In fact, particularly you. He said, I haven't lifted my hands above here for 25 years, and I'm not starting right now. And you with the nasal problem, that definitely means you, and don't blow it. All right. Okay, up, hands up, here we go. Don't start yet. I'll tell you what, sir, could you come up for me? Yeah, you come up, and you're going to follow Adrian. What's your name, sir? Paul. It's a bit of a boring name, isn't it, Paul? But there you go, stand over there. Right. Right, now, Paul, you're going to lead them, and you're going to follow Paul. Goodness knows, I've been watching him. He's been asleep most of the time, so I don't know if he knows what he's doing up here, but we're going to give it a shot. Okay, here we go. Hands in the air, then. Is there a St. John's ambulance person here? I just need to know. There's a man. Right. Listen, sweetheart, tell me, do you love me true? You see how easy it is to be a charismatic Christian? And is he holding you the way I do? Here we go. Oh, love is blind. Make up your mind. Stop a minute. Now, I can't... Paul, you're doing this, right? Paul is doing... Show it. And go to that side. Right, and a woman's going down and she says, I don't know, which side shall I go? Well, you've got one of two choices, madam. Okay? I don't want you to go forward or backwards. I just want you to go side. Okay? Your husband there, I hope it's your husband. It is your husband. Ah, it's not... Never mind, let's move on. Paul, you're up for it, mate. Only another couple of hours and we should be finished. Listen, sweetheart, tell me, do you love me true? You're not doing it the right way, the wrong way. If he does it that way, you do it that way, and then you go the other way. How difficult can this be? Where are you from, sir? Pulborough. From where? Pulborough. Pulborough? Yeah. Well, it explains everything, doesn't it? Now listen.
He
He goes, you go to the left. That's it. It's you to follow him. It's a mirror. It's going that way. No. Okay, I'll tell you what. You come up here and do exactly the opposite of what... I mean, it would have been in the DVD had it not been for you. I don't want you to feel under any... Hands up, yeah. You see, the Surrey people had their hands in the air before anybody else. Best educated people in Britain. Listen, sweetheart, tell me, do you love me true? Or is he holding you the way I do? Oh, love is blind. Make up your mind. I have to love. Oh, will you tell him? He'll have to go. No, I can't carry on. Are you challenged in this way? No, explain it to me. Come on, explain it. Come on, explain it.
Well, when he went like that...
Yes.
I was sitting here and went like that.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm facing him.
Yes.
Therefore, when he's going into his leg,
yes.
I'm going to my leg.
Yes.
So I was the only one doing it right.
So you, in fact, he was the only person doing it right. Has somebody protested their innocence?
Well, that's what I love about a JV show. That's what I love about a JV show. You go to it, you're never too sure what's going to happen because it's all about the audience. I just love it. So here we have the next few shows out live on the road. So on the 11th of March, we are at our home church in Guildford, St Saviour's. Come along, join us, be part of that. It's going to be a great evening as usual. That's March the 11th. April, we're up in Flackwell Heath at Allen's Church. And then on the 28th, we go to Troon in Scotland. We're still there on the 6th when we were in Blairgowrie. 6th of May. Then we come down to Sheringham for the 13th of May. And I know a few of you have got tickets for that already. Then in June, we are going to be in Southport on the 17th of June and Newbury on the 24th of June. So Karen Frost is organising the one in Newbury. So we're all looking forward to both of those. And then in August, we're going to be up in the Lake District for 2 weeks. We're going to be at Thornley Hotel for a week doing meetings and concerts. And then Jonathan's going to do a big concert in the local hall on the 26th, which is their 50th anniversary. And then we'll do another week that's very similar. So sort of another week of mornings and evenings. Those of you who've been to those will know that they're great. If you're thinking about coming, having a holiday with us, then that would be wonderful. I know a few of you have already booked those. So that's going to be lovely. So Rachel, where are we going to go with the next one? There we go. So I've lost Jonathan. He's just disappeared. So in February, we have got one more after this of the Steinway room. So Adrian's coming next week on the 26th, which will be lovely. I think this could be slightly chaotic having those two in the Steinway room together, but there we are. We'll see how it goes. Lovely Derek and Kath Phillips are going to join us on the 5th of March. On the 12th of March, we have Chris and Denise Arthey joining us. They've got a stunning story to tell about an accident that they had in America and all that happened as a result of that. And then on the 26th of March, we're looking forward to having Maria, who runs the Dorcas Dress Project, and that's lovely Michael Cooper's daughter. And then in April, we are going to have, I can't believe this, our 3rd birthday on the 2nd of April. So all kinds of shenanigans, what can I say? So those are our dates coming up in... and here we have Jonathan. So there we are, caught you in the act. Don't forget to join us on the YouTube channel. What you need to do is to go in there, you need to click on the thumb, you need to click subscribe and subscribe. If you haven't done it already, please do, because the more people we have subscribed to our channel, the more we get from it. I don't quite understand it, but what I know is that we want lots and lots of people subscribe to our YouTube channel, because then we can start monetizing it in some way. I don't quite know how that works, but apparently that is so. So you can subscribe with every single email address that you've got, basically, and it costs you not a penny. So make sure that you subscribe to that, and that would be wonderful. And obviously, if you want to know anything, you contact me on sue@jonathanveira.com. That's sue@jonathanveira.com. So if you want to ask a question about how to put on a show, what's involved, then that's what you need to do. You need to write to me at sue@jonathanveira.com. If you want to ask a question about tickets, that's what you can do. If you want to buy tickets, if you want to know about addresses for some of these churches that we've been talking about, then that will be jonathanveira.com, the website. There is a calendar there. There is also a shop there. So if you want to buy anything or do anything, then that's what you need to do. Okay, so don't forget, on Wednesdays at 5 p.m, lovely Rachel releases some wonderful video of Jonathan doing something, chatting about something, whatever. So make sure that you watch those videos and that you click on them. And as I say, if you're not subscribed, could you please do so? I think we need to move to Jonathan, who is standing there very patiently in front of a couple of posters and in the far corner of the Steinway room. So,
Sir, can you hear me over
I
here?
can hear you, just.
Let's sing this one. Let's have the backing track. You might recognise it. Oh Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hand hath made, I see the stars, I hear the mighty thunder, I pass throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I think that God His Son not sparing, that Him to die, I scarce can take it in, that on the cross my burden gladly bearing, bled to take away my sin. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation, and joy shall fill my heart. Then shall I bow in humble adoration and there proclaim, my God, how great thou art. And sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art. We're going to have a quick video and then we're going to welcome our special guest in now, Cindy Kent, who's waiting in her lounge with her beautiful cushions. I can see her blonde hair shining in the sun right now, waiting to come in. Let them be stand by, get your drinks in, sit down and enjoy a wonderful interview now, a little chat with our lovely friend Cindy Kent. Here's the little video. That's it, I just wanted to... I think I am H-A-P-P-Y. See, what's that? Now, wouldn't have enjoyed it if it had been like that, eh? Anyway, I don't think I'll use the key.
Well,
enough of that nonsense, eh, Cindy Kent? Cindy Kent, now is it OBE? MBE, that's what it was. Do you know what? It's a thing I wasn't sure of, is it OBE and MBE? Now, can we hear you, Cindy?
You can hear me? Well, I hope you can anyway.
I can now, definitely. You're looking fab, Cindy. Can I say that? You haven't changed one bit. Not exactly. What is it you said to me about your hair when we were talking about it?
Well, for years, I used to think I was just a mousy whatever, and I went and spent a lot of money on having highlights put in to make it look blonder.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when I hit the tender age of whatever it was I became last year, it suddenly became this colour, and so I don't have to spend a lot of money on it now, and it's the blonde I always wanted to be. Better late than never, I think is the thing.
It is, but I look at you with follicle jealousy. That's all I can say, all right? I just need you to know that you talked about having a parting. I've dreamed literally of having a parting again. I do remember it was, it was there somewhere. Anyway, enough of this nonsense. You're looking fab. You've had an interesting few years, haven't you? And you've been back and forward. You've been moving. You've moved house from that view that I always thought,
Do you know, I thought I was going to get carried away from their feet first. I was set for life because I was
Really?
I'd been a vicar in North London, and then I decided to kind of retire or semi-retire when I hit an age that had a 0 on the end of it. And
Yes.
so I looked around very briefly. I looked around where I was living in North London, and the prices of everywhere were just sky high. And so an answer to prayer came up in a place called the Isle of Sheppey, and I'm just wondering if had you ever heard of it? Because I certainly hadn't.
I had. No, I had. I've obviously never been there. That's all.
And it was this wonderful little detached bungalow with a garage, and a view of the sea at the bottom of the garden. Absolutely stunning. It was it was an answer, literally an answer to prayer.
yes,
and I thought that was where I was going to be forever. But my son decided to make me a grandma. And so a year ago, just before the birth, I moved back into the Barnet area, which is where I've been before. And I'm now in a sort of masonette, which is all I could afford when I got back. But it doesn't matter. I'm about 5 minutes away from the most gorgeous little baby in the world. And she's absolutely adorable. And the first time she said nanny, I have to tell you, the tears and the heart just, whoa, it was fabulous. It's a great feeling.
It's a special moment, isn't it? There is we had our children for lunch today with the 2 grandchildren and the 3 boys, and it was so interesting. It was talking about dresses and things like that. That our boys, I don't think any of them had said, "Oh, look at that lovely dress you're wearing." No, well, they hadn't. No, generally they didn't wear dresses. But we never thought of talking like this. And now I'm a doting grandfather, and I'll buy them anything. She went. This is a story. We went to Farnham, somewhere like that. I took them out for a morning, both of them. And we went out, and Sue and I were taking them up the hill in Farnham, a lovely little town. And we went, and I thought, well, I'll buy them something. I'll buy them a little sweet or something, and then we'll pop into the pound shop, get some little toy or not something. Walked in
Last
there,
of the
Poppy.
big spenders, eh?
That's me. Well, I was going to spend 2 items, so I'd get £2. But then when I go in and say, how much is that? That's why I always go into all the pound shops and say, how much is that? How much is that? Anyway, so we walked in there, Cindy, and honestly, she looked around, she went, well, I don't think there's a single thing in here that I want, Grandad. We went outside the shop, and she saw a shop, which is I don't know whether you know this one, Jojo Mama Bebe. It's a very designer children's wear, all right? And she said, oh, Grandad, look at that lovely blue dress. Can we go in there? And I go, yeah, all right then. Sue's going, what are you doing? Because you know about these things. And this dress costs more than my house. And I honestly, I couldn't believe it. And I went, yeah, okay then. And then she said, oh, Grandad, she said, Lily, who's the little girl, she said, she could have one too. What about that one there? So I ended up arranging a mortgage with Nationwide Building Society to buy 2 dresses. Because that's what you do with grandchildren. Anyway, you're living down the road. Sorry, I'm being told to turn the bows down. I can't turn it down anymore, otherwise I can't hear. So you're living down the road from them. Is it all that you would have imagined it would be?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a mixture of being terrified and happy, and I'm just praying all the time that nothing happens on my watch. I mean, I hope nothing happens to her anyway. But you realise how precious it is. And then I thought to myself, did I feel like this about my son, who's managed to get to the ripe old age of 40 this year, and nothing really happened to him? Well, it did, if I'm absolutely working. And when I got back, I'd been in one of the Disney shops, and I bought him a little pencil case, and it had on the side a little pocket that said lunch money. And I thought, I'll just pop a 20p piece in there for him, you see, just for a joke. And I gave it to him, and he absolutely loved it. It had Mickey Mouse on it and, all these sort of things. And then I was on the telephone, and he came into me and said, oh, Mummy, I've eaten my lunch money. And I was like, the silly idiot.
No, he didn't.
He did. He swallowed the 20p piece. And so we rang up the surgery, and they said, wait 2 or 3 days, check all the outgoings, I think was the way they put it. And if nothing happened after 3 days. So they took him into hospital, and he was only 3. He was really...
bless him.
And so they opened him up because we did the X-ray, and it was sitting in the I don't know which. I'm not very good at inside bits. There's like a bowl-shaped bit of your intestine, and it was sitting in there, and it wouldn't go up the next little loop to come out. So they had to cut him open, and he had a scar that was absolutely massive.
Oh,
I felt the
no.
worst mother in the world. You know that I'd given my child this 20 pence piece and this stupid idiot. So, but apart from that, I seem to have done a good job, and he's reached 40. But somehow, I don't know if you feel the same, but it's one step removed, so there's a bit more responsibility, isn't there? But she's gorgeous, and as I say, the first time she said nanny, it was wonderful. We have a little game now where we place material on our heads and pretend they're hats, and the first thing she says when I go in now is nanny hat, nanny hat. It's lovely. I'm enjoying it so much. It's worth moving back from my lovely bungalow to be this close to my gorgeous little granddaughter.
It is interesting, isn't it, how we place value on certain things at different times in our life. And those things change as we get older. I suppose as we realise there are probably more days, we've had more days than we're going to have. And actually that, it's likely that you're not going to live until you're about 160. And so
thanks for bringing the whole mood down.
I'm saying. But what you have is you make choices about the things that you want near you, around you. Every time people say about, do we move from here? Well, yes, the house is too big, but actually it's great because they can come here. They live down the road now. They've got a house down, and they're 4 minutes away. Well, if it comes down to a straight choice, would you rather have you or your grandchild?
Oh, well, it's no contest. I mean, in the summer, I can actually walk. I don't even have to drive, so I can walk just down the road from me. There's a green walk that takes me right to the back of their house. And so, that's got lots of potential and everything. But you see all the dangers, don't you, when you've got little ones? Every day you sort of look around the room and think, what can they... Well, having had a son who eats a 20 pence piece, I suppose that's kind of in my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
She doesn't
the joke, excuse me saying, but the joke was... how is he? And you can say, I didn't get any change. There's no change at all. Sorry, I just thought of that one. Sorry, you should have had that prepared. Sorry, but that was quite a good one. Excuse me saying, but that's off the cuff, all right?
Thank you, Jonathan. We'll let you know.
Okay. Now, Cindy, we just this has grown this show into. I think we must be on something like 114 now. 114 shows. We came up to 3 years in April that we've been doing this. And we've had the great and the good, and you're the great, obviously. We've had the good as well. But you're great and good. And you're a nice lady. And I've known you for many years now. And the thing that you were best known, I mean, I think actually best known within the who's who type of area of life. I was known for opera, but you were known for being a member of a very, very famous singing group that many people will know about. And it's a special anniversary this year, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it is. It's 60 years ago, and I can't believe that. I mean, I was probably only about 3, I suppose, when it all happened. But I went along to a folk club in Birmingham, which is where I used to live. And I was meant to go with a group of people, and one of them pulled out. And so, anyway, a long story short, I decided I'd go anyway, even if this friend didn't turn up. And I was sitting in the audience, and in the interval at folk clubs, they used to get floor singers, people would get up from the floor and sing. They weren't paid; they just get up and do it. And this couple of lads called Mike and John. Really clever name because they were called Mike and John, but anyway, they got up and they just met a few months before at a teachers training college in Saltley, just outside Birmingham, and they got together, and one of them played the guitar and the banjo, and they did a couple of songs, and they were really very good, and both very handsome lads. And anyway, we thought they were wonderful. And so they came to the end of the evening, and they both came over and chatted me up, which was really quite sort of flattering. And let's go for a coffee, which you did in those days. And so we all went across to the local coffee bar, and they got the guitars out and started playing. And of course, I just joined in because I came from a very musical family. My dad was a member of an Orpheus male voice choir, a wonderful baritone.
Oh, was he? Was he?
Oh,
right.
Great voice he had, and he was given all the solos. My mum was a soprano in her works choir as well. My sister was the youngest person ever to join the City of Birmingham Symphony Choir at 15. And she played the piano, and we used to have musical evenings. So I came from a very musical background. So it was nothing to me to join in as they were playing the guitar and singing. It was great fun to do. And they said, "Oh, you're not bad voice," sort of thing. Anyway, we all started going around together in a group. and they did a little gig at a working men's club. I can remember the name of the place was Borsal Heath. It's one of those names that sort of stays with you forever.
Yes,
and they did their
yes.
4 or 5 songs or whatever it was that they did, and the audience was shouting for more. And one of them said, "Come and join us, Cindy, and let's do that song we've been messing around with." And it was a Negro spiritual called "It's Me, It's Me, It's Me, Oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer."
Standing in the need of prayer, yeah.
That's right. And we sort of sung it in coffee bars and wherever. And they got me on stage, get on stage, and I thought, so I took my cardigan off and got up on stage and joined them. And they couldn't get rid of me after that, really. So then we entered a talent competition, which we were fortunate enough to win. And that was 60 years ago, 2 weeks ago. And one of them sadly is no longer with us. But the other 2, we meet on Zoom every Wednesday and Saturday. One's in Holland, one's up
Really?
in and it's great.
That's
We're
fantastic.
still great mates.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you still met together, because many of the groups of the 60s, they either were gone or they didn't meet together. They fell out, didn't they?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were notorious. Some places where you could hear people fighting punching each other in the wings, and then it's ladies and gentlemen, and you're on stage all smiles, pretending nothing had ever happened. No, we've stayed great friends, and I'm sure we would have done with Mike, if he was still with us. And so on a Wednesday we do a quiz. And we take it in turns to come up with 10 questions. And then on a Saturday, we just meet up and have a little chat and raise a glass and whatever, perhaps sometimes eat a meal while we're still chatting. It started during the pandemic, particularly because I was living on my own. Yes. They thought it was a nice thing to do. And we just carried it on. It's one of those things that goes on. They're lovely. They're just like family, actually, because I've known them for so long. I mean, 60 years is a long time, isn't it?
But you were signed, I presume, by which company was signed by, Decca or EMI or?
Oh well, they're by hands of tail. The first was with Decca, and then we moved to Pi. Yes. And then we went to EMI. We just moved around a lot. When we were with Pi, Tony Hatch, the great Tony Hatch, was our recording manager. He was a lovely, lovely guy, and. He wrote a song. The raid happened. He wrote a song. Well, there was a competition in it was either Woman's Own or Woman's Weekly. I can't remember which magazine it was now. For somebody to write some lyrics to do with the war. I can't remember what the connection was, but anyway, this woman wrote a song called "Woman Called Freedom," which is a great title. It's lovely lyrics. And Tony Hatch was called in to put it to set the music to it, and they got us to sing it, and so he became our recording manager, and he wrote a fabulous song for us, which wasn't a hit. It didn't sell, but it actually sorry, I don't know what happened to the picture there. It just went a bit funny for a minute. Okay, it didn't sell very, very much, but it actually was played a lot on the radio. A song called Major to Minor, and you'll appreciate this, Jonathan, being a musician. Yes. The song actually went from major to minor all the way through, and it was very clever.
Lovely.
Yeah, that was good. So we moved around.
I'll check that out. I'll check it out when we're. I'm sorry. I apologise to the people on the stream tonight. And in the JV community, I would have been playing songs from the Settlers, but we're not allowed to do it due to copyright restrictions that we get.
Google
Spotify, Spotify, or Amazon Music. It's all on there.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the biggest? Because you were signed, but you had a number of hits. The biggest one, I would imagine, was Lightning Tree. Was that correct?
Yeah, it was. That was the only one that charted. And that's an interesting little story there. We used to do a concert every year at the Queen Elizabeth Hall in London. And it was always a lovely event. I'm sure you've done it many, many times. We did it once a year. And we always finished with our version of The Rhythm of Life from Sweet Charity. Yeah. And we did it
and it is a beautiful one, by the way. Your version. It's one of the iconic versions. We thought it was good.
And it's a bit swingle singer, so it had lots of and all that kind of stuff. Contrapuntal.
And did you do that? Did you do all those? Did you do all those?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is it contrapuntal? Is that the word I'm searching for?
Yes, it is. It forms. It's this contrapuntal. It's counterpoint, as they say.
Oh right.
That's
exactly it.
It's answering phrases.
Sitting in the audience at this gig, we didn't know, was a guy whose brother had been asked to direct a new children's programme on Yorkshire television called Follyfoot, which was all about horses.
Yeah, I remember
it. And he heard our version of Rhythm of Life and went home and wrote The Lightning Tree based on that, because it has the same sort of thing in it, the dubba-dubba. And we were contacted by Yorkshire Television, who made the programme, and said, would you like to come and sing the signature tune for us? And so
we went up and we did it, and we thought no more about it, to be perfectly honest. Thought, when it comes out. Anyway, we went off on a cruise. We used to do a lot of entertaining on board ships, which was fantastic, paid holiday and, absolutely wonderful. And we suddenly got a telegram. Do you remember telegrams?
I do.
Our manager sent us a telegram saying, it's just entered the charts at 35. You better learn it, because we've never sung it since.
Top of the pops.
Not something you did anything. And one of us had, have you got the lyrics? Who's got? I think they're in my guitar case. I don't know where. But the trouble with that wretched song was every verse started with the same words. Down in the meadow where something or other happened.
Yeah, it's a nightmare, isn't it? It's a nightmare. It was the nightmare of my life. Anything that was strophic, anything that had verses. I could never. I still can't remember them now. And I was just thinking how great they were, and I was trying to think what's the next verse. Even now, 62 years old, and I still can't remember what's going. So how did you have idiot boards, or did you just learn it?
No, just learned it. And actually, I was blessed, and not so much now, I have to admit, I was very blessed with a very good memory. And so I did actually, and the guys kind of, I suppose, you listen to what everybody's singing near you, and you take it along, don't you? But no, it was one of those things you just had to learn. If I've ever done it now, and I've done it a few times at little gigs, I do have to write it down, though, because it gets very confusing.
Very confusing, isn't it?
Yeah,
but if you're not doing it every day, and if you're not doing it all the time on tour, it only takes a few weeks before you think, I don't know what comes next.
Very true.
We just started again.
You know that, don't you?
Yeah, Sue knows. I know that often. I mean, Sue, when I'm singing, you will often prompt me, won't you? Because
if I sense that Jonathan is struggling, then I just sort of get all the words in my head and mouth them so that I can give them to him when he looks at me blankly.
Yeah.
And that might be something I've sung for Old Man River for years and years and years. Yeah. I mean, You Raised Me Up, all these kind of big hits for me, which were all, cover versions. And still I don't remember them. And I just, when I was doing the BBC work, a lot of songs of praises, they used to hold up idiot boards for me because I couldn't remember the verse.
Well, it's the only way.
I'd follow the camera around.
Yeah, we when we were doing, we did a lot of series for Tyne-Tees television. We got to know a wonderful guy called Maxwell Dees, who was their religious affairs producer. And it was in the days when the television companies used to close down at midnight. Remember that? Yes. They had an epilogue.
Thank you very much, and good night, everybody. Yes.
That's right. And Max used to sit in this big comfy chair with lots of cushions, a bit like now, and he'd do a little thought kind of thing, and perhaps a Bible reading or something, and always ended with the Lord's Prayer. And he had it written down on a card, and somebody had said to him once, "Oh, come on, you're a vicar, for goodness sake."
You must know it, yeah.
And he said, no, because one night, live, I'm going to suddenly think, what am I going to have for supper when I get home? And suddenly I won't know where I am in the prayer. And whenever I've had to do anything like that, like at a funeral, I have all the words in front of me, because you can get caught up with the emotion of the moment, and you can be thinking about all sorts of things, and suddenly, and you're meant to be leading it. And I always remember that tip from Max. I thought, right, that I'm going to do that so that I don't forget what's going on.
Well, interestingly, Sue has just trained, for many of you, we explained to you the other week, Sue has just trained as a funeral celebrant, okay? So she's now going into the masses of funerals, 75% of which happen outside the church. So she wants to bring, some peace to people. Anyway, you were talking about this exactly, that remembering things, don't rely on the memory.
Don't rely on the memory, because under pressure, it just goes, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have it written down. And to be honest, people will laugh at you, but don't. I did one just on Thursday, and I almost blew it because I was using my iPad. And it was one of these that I'd never done before, a woodland burial. So it's not a cemetery. So you just got a whole massive expanse of grass and everything. And it had been raining. So, of course, everything was muddy. And I'm thinking, I'm going to slide into the grave, which, of course, would have been hilarious for everybody else, but not for me.
Double funeral.
Yes, exactly. And I had it all on my iPad. And all of a sudden, the iPad just, how it happens, some of the words just went.
Yes, goes.
And it was like, and so I'm desperately trying to think, what was I actually saying? Which part, and I managed to get it back up again and in front of him. But I tell you what, funerals, honestly, the more you do, the more, well, with me anyway, the more I did when I first started doing them, the more nervous I became about doing them, because they're so important, aren't they, in somebody's life? I mean, so is a wedding, and so is a service of Holy Communion or a church service, don't get me wrong. But funerals, you want to give that last thing for
Yeah.
somebody to be the best you can do. And I've talked to my fellow priests, and a lot of them say the same. I've been known to stop halfway to a service and reach in to pick up the funeral service sheet to check I'm going to the right creme. You know,
Yes.
just to, and I've probably printed the service sheet, you know, or whatever.
Yes.
But it's like, am I going to New Southgate or is it? And I don't want to be at the wrong place. I did turn up once though, this New Southgate, where I'd done a lot, and I knew the girl behind the desk there. And oh, hello, Carol. And she said, "What are you doing here?" And I thought, "Uh-oh." And she said, "I said, oh, I'm here to for something ashes." And she looked at me. She said, "Oh no, oh yeah, she got a burial of ashes." But it was in that split second because she realised my heart, you know. And I was thinking, "Where's the next nearest creme I can get to? And can I still get there in time?" And it's it's a nightmare. It really is.
Well, it is when you think actually cremes they run in 28-minute sections.
Oh,
and,
I know.
You know, you're in and you're out. You're in and you're out. I mean, blinking heck. Can I just tell you though, just a laugh? I was asked to go and speak, to go and sing. I am. If I could sell records at funerals, I would be a millionaire. I kid you not. I mean, I was thinking of doing it at a funeral and having what I call a death bonus. So if you can produce the death certificate, I'll give you another one free. It's that kind of thing. But Sue says it's tasteless. Anyway, but I was asked to go and sing at this guy's funeral, and he got. I didn't know it was our local printer who we use. And he said, "Jonathan, could you go and sing? Because James, he loved your music, got all your CDs." So I said, "Yeah, okay." So I said, "I'll come and sing." Eventually, I didn't know who he was, never heard of him. Walked into the creme, and I opened the and the organist knew me, and I said, "Oh, you know, I'm singing." He's asked for inappropriately, "You raise me up," which is, I think, rather not right now. And anyway, in the program, they'd written Jonathan Veira spoken tribute and song. I literally didn't know anything about this man at all, nothing, zero. And I'd been given 6 minutes to do this tribute. So I thought, what am I going to do? And the organist laughed, and I thought, I just listened to the priest who said only two things. He said, "Well, what can we say about James? He liked the women, he liked a good drink." So I went up, and I'm walking up thinking, Lord, now is the time. If you're going to give me... And I just said, "What can we say about James? Any ideas?" So people put their hands up, and they said, "Oh, his service." I said, "Yes, his military service." I said, "What a faithful man. He was in the," and somebody said, "Navy." I said, "That's right, the Navy." So I finished this thing, and they all went, "You really knew James very well." I said, "I had never met him, never heard about him in my life." So, but at that time, he hadn't got any relatives, but you realise that people there, it meant a lot to people. You got to make it up. Do something.
Well, absolutely. One of the very first ones I did, it was a fair distance away from where I lived. I didn't know the area very well, but I eventually found this flat, and there was a lady, and I won't do the Irish accent, but she was as Irish as they come. And she sat there, she's a very small lady, and every time she spoke to me, she had her eyes closed, and then when she finished speaking to me, she opened her eyes. It was very disconcerting, and it was her partner who died. And so I'm copiously taking notes and making sure I've got everything. And, you know, and I said, hymns, and we'll have a hymn at the beginning, a hymn at the end, and we decided on the Bible reading. I went through the whole, my tick list, got everything sorted out. And then we got to the creme, and it was a very early one. It was a 9 o'clock one. And what I didn't realise, it was what they call a pauper's funeral, where they give you the first lot of the day for a cheaper rate. And so you don't have hymns. There's no organist or anything. So we've got 2 hymns to sing. And so,
goodness.
Well, at least I was a singer. So I was able to lead unaccompanied. I don't think we did How Great They Are. That would have been a good one. I think we did The Lord's My Shepherd. I can't remember now. But having got over that first hurdle of leading and unaccompanied, she was sitting in the front row. The smell of alcohol as they all walked in was unbelievable. Every time they breathed out to take a, you know, in the hymns, it was like, you know, I was hit with a wave of whatever.
Don't strike a match.
Well, yes, I was thinking about the creme at the back, but that's another story. And so, and she kept bobbing up and down. Guy sort of said, "Welcome," you know, and here we are to the and she and don't forget to tell them about the wake, you know. And then don't forget. And she just kept on. I thought, oh my goodness. Anyway, we finally got through it, and we get to the bit where I'm saying, "And so we commit his body to the elements, earth to earth." And it's at that point I press the thing, and the curtain slowly closes. And so I'm doing it off, and the curtain started closing, and she suddenly leapt up and went, no, I want to kiss the coffin. Well, it's the only creme I've ever worked in where you can stop the curtain once it's going, because most of them started and that's it. And it juddered to a halt, and she left off, and she, hugged, and this sounds very disrespectful, I don't mean it, but she hugged and kissed the coffin, and then somebody else did, and I just stood there, and, anybody else? And then they all sat down again, and we picked it up where we left off, and then we sang the hymn at the end unaccompanied. And on the way out, the guy, the funeral director said, "Thank you very much indeed. You're never going to work for me again, are you?" And I said, "No, you should have told me all these things."
I love that.
Problem. Jonathan, I don't know if my picture keeps going off, but there's a slight problem. For some reason, we seem to have drained a lot of battery. So if we do die, can you talk?
What I'm going to do?
Yourself?
Well, you should plug it in. What I'm going to do, Cindy, give you a
Just
break.
plug in. I'm going to switch over to my mobile phone, which will be easier.
Okay.
That's got a lot
And
of
what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing a song. I'm going to sing a song,
What
and
are you
then it
gonna
gives
sing?
you a moment to get together. And we're going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to sing a song called "All That Matters," talking about things that of funeral matters. All that matters. We'll sing this song now. Thank you, Susan, for getting my tablets. Rachel, why don't we do that song, "All That Matters," on the thingy? Yeah, that's great. There we go. Give Cindy a bit more. We've got some interesting things to talk about. Here's life in all its mystery, the beauty and the tragedy, the silence and the symphony, and everything between. And deep inside the heart of man, the need to know and understand. Are we a part of some great plan, or just a passing dream? Philosophers philosophize, but rarely look you in the eyes. And politics is compromise that rides the ebb and flow. And money talks and fashion screams to fill the space inside your dreams. If you want something to believe, I'll tell you what I know. Sing it if you know it. My maker is my savior, my creator is also mine, and to find him and his favor is all that matters in the end. The spirit of the age decrees. We may not speak in certainties, but that's what Jesus is to me, the bedrock of my soul, a savior who can really save, a power stronger than the grave, the greatest gift I'll ever have, the deepest joy I know. My maker is my savior, my creator is also my friend, and to find him and his favor is all that matters in the end. My maker is my savior, my creator is also my friend, and to find him and his favor is all that matters, is all that matters, is all that matters. in the air. In the air. In the air. But I do. That great recording from Lockdown Sessions 1, I think it is, All That Matters in the End. And we've got Mark Edwards on the piano and the normal band, Sovagy on bass, and Darren Beckett, plus my children on backing vocals, Matt and Nick. And we've had a few issues plugging in and things. I can see every bit of her
yes, it's
arms,
all got a bit
legs,
it's all got a bit
and
exciting
feet.
tonight.
Yes, it's a bit exciting. As the thingy not particularly working. So, Sue, just there's some
yes,
dedications.
I just
for
want
people.
to make some dedications. I can't seem to put my camera on. I'm trying to put that on, but I can't. So you're just going to have to listen to my lovely voice. I'm very aware that there are a number of people in our community who are struggling with various things at the moment, and there are probably too many of you to go into, but just a few that have come to mind. So, Val, you managed to have another fall, which is a bit sad because you only had one a few days ago. So that's another fall that you've had. You banged your head, and you fell down on your back. So I just hope and pray that you are not struggling too much with that now. Brenda Godden, you've got COPD, bronchitis, and other difficulties that you're dealing with at the moment. So you've got a difficult time at the moment, but I know that you've appreciated the support that you get through the group, so that's good. Roy and Sally Windsor. Roy is home, and although physically he's improving, he's still sort of a bit confused about what's going on. So that's tough on Sally, who's caring for his bodily needs, but also now his mental needs as well. So that's quite hard on her. So yes. Oh dear. Yes, so he's a bit confused at the moment.
And for those of you who don't know, Roy is quadriplegic, and so I can see we're nearly there with and
Liz Ormiston, you've got difficulties because Tom is frail and his memory is getting worse, and it's tough. It's a tough part of life for you. I know that.
Let's not forget also Lynn and Jim, who continue their struggle, and it's tough. And Karen Spicer, who is in constant trouble with her illness, and of course Peter and Ruth Salcombe as they struggle with treatment with chemo, and we pray for them all. We pray prayers of consolation for people too. Really important old-fashioned way of looking at things, where we pray that you will be consoled as well. We pray that you'll get better, of course. We pray that. But we pray that you'll be consoled in those times, and that the right people will talk to you. We now have, I think we have our guest back, and we won't take the meds until about 40 minutes. In about 10 minutes, I took those 8 meds. He's
deliberately taking them to meds.
Here we go. Are we back on? Are we back on with Cindy now? Oh, we're not muted. We're muted at the moment.
Rachel is working so hard tonight
to
make sure it all works. I don't know why things have dropped out tonight.
Also, I think it should be.
There we go.
Is that okay?
There we go. That's it. Right. So we've changed. What have you got? What are you using now? An iPhone?
I'm using my the thing is, I used my iPad this morning at 2 services, and I put it on charge as soon as I got back. But obviously, it's drained. So I'm so sorry. But we now anyway. As long as you can still see me.
Your hair looks different. I like it. I like it like that.
Not anything to it.
Now we must stop talking follicles. What I want to talk about, and this is quite important to you, and it's things that are important to you that matter to us, because your story, each of us, we believe on this show, each of us has a story to tell, a narrative of our lives that characterises the way we live. It shapes the way we think. You had a career, a great career as a singer in a top-rated, top recording artist around the world and doing all the things that so many people would have loved to have done as a musician. You got to do. I mean, it's a satisfying career. I couldn't have chosen anything better. If I look back on it now, I think, on balance there were problems, but what a great way to spend a life. Now, two things I want to talk about before we say goodbye to you. One is your lovely honour, Cindy Kent MBE, and then I want to talk to you about being a priest and being a female priest in particular. It's a particular thing on your mind. But just tell us your MBE. That must have been a special moment for you.
Oh, I mean, tell me about it. It was just, and it was out of the blue. Now, not many people know who nominated them. I happen to know. And it was a very, very dear friend who I met on a cruise, who was married to a guy who worked for Kodak. And his job on the cruises was to tell people the best place to get a view of whatever, with a camera and all that kind of stuff. And we all sat together and I got to know this lady. Now, remember, we did about 4 or 5 cruises a year and met hundreds of people, but I only ever stayed in touch with this one woman. I believe she was God-given, and we became the best of friends, and she's absolutely amazing. And she was a huge fan of the group, and when her husband died, I did the funeral, and we still stayed in touch. And anyway, an amazing friend, you can't believe it. And so she decided she wanted to get me an award. I didn't know anything about this, but this is how it all turned out. So she decided she'd go around asking people. So she got in touch with whoever you get in touch with for these awards and said, I think my friend should, whatever. Anyway, they got back and apparently said, you need nominations. You need people to back it up. Yeah. And so unbeknown to me, she'd raided my address book, literally, and got phone numbers and things from all sorts of people, from the Archbishop of Canterbury to, I don't know, I'm surprised she didn't get you, to be honest, Jonathan, but everybody and anybody that she knew that had a name. Including one occasion where she was very sneaky. I'd gone to a quiz evening at my son's church, which is the church I'd always gone to before I took up being a vicar. And his dad, the vicar's dad there, was a bishop. And I'd got to know him quite well. And he was there at the quiz with his family. And I didn't realise, but when I went to the lady, she only went over to the next table and said to this guy, oh, you've known Cindy for quite a few years. Would you like to say? And he sent a letter to her to you. She was so sneaky. Anyway, I suddenly got this letter one morning saying you have been, I can't remember the phrase now, something like you've been awarded by Her Majesty, whatever, and if you'd like to accept this, let us know. And it was gobsmacked is not the word for it. It was just, it was for services to religious broadcasting. Right, and so I was just absolutely over the moon. And suddenly I had this weird feeling that I knew it was this friend Viv. And the saddest thing was that at this point she knew she was dying. She'd got throat cancer. Oh, dear. And she could only speak in a whisper. And I phoned her up and I said, are you anything to do with this award? And she said, yes, she was. She sadly died before I went to the palace to get it, otherwise she'd have been there with me. But dear. It was just an amazing thing to do as a friend. She died, as I say, quite soon after I heard about it. And she left me her brand new car, which was amazing. And the reason she wanted me to have it, apart from she wanted me to have it anyway, because she knew I'd never had a brand new car in my life, was because the registration was GVA, which was her husband's initials, 666. And she tried to buy him this thing as a present many years before, just because it was personalised. And the only one she could get was 666, which lots of people have this awful, silly, superstitious thing about being to do with the devil and all that. But she knew it wouldn't bother me at all. And she left it me in her will on the basis that she knew I wouldn't change the registration plate. Now, isn't that one of the nicest things to do?
That's beautiful, isn't it? That's
it was just the most...
That's just so, and it makes the whole thing very special. I'm just going to put a footnote here to the whole of my community. Could you please get talking? I need to visit the palace soon before I die. Okay, just telling you.
I'll set the ball rolling.
If you ask for it, you don't get.
Oh, you don't get it, do you? If you ask, everybody.
Yeah, we
I
can
don't
ask
want
for
one.
it.
Okay.
We can ask on your behalf. So come on, guys. We'll all get together.
Together
And Jonathan, and we'll see what we can do. But you go to the palace, and then you get treated like you're the queen when you arrive. We took a taxi, and you go in through the main gates and right through that courtyard and under that archway, and the guy opens your door and says, I took my sister and my son, obviously.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures. Yeah.
Oh, you've seen the picture? Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And my other best friend, who wouldn't have gone had this other lady lived. And so they open the door and they say, which one of you is getting the award? And so you go up some stairs one way and they go off somewhere else, and they sit in this room and you get given coffee and tea, and you get told how to curtsy and when to curtsy and where to stand. And but everybody you meet, the first thing they say is congratulations on your award. I mean, you're meant to, as I say, you feel so special. By the time you get in there, it's fantastic. And it was Prince William that gave me mine. In a way, I was sad because it would have been lovely to have met the Queen, but oh my goodness me, he was so lovely, and he talked and he asked all sorts of questions about the settlers and about being a priest, and I said something about, I'm thinking of retiring, and he said, you're supposed to tell what people said, but he said to me, well, I've only met you a short time, but you don't seem to me like somebody who's going to retire soon. And I thought
that's lovely, isn't it? That's lovely.
And it was a great day to remember. And my best friend, her dad had booked us a table at a fabulous restaurant called Langan's, which is a very special place, very expensive.
Upmarket,
and paid the bill for us to have lunch there. And again, they treated me well, and they made a cake with I mean, it was just absolutely
what a lovely day. Oh, it's a lovely day, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was absolutely beautiful. But you mentioned there about being a priest. I mean, it's a funny step from being in show business, isn't it, in a way? But I moved into radio when I left the group, and somehow or other during the time I was doing radio, starting off with Radio 4 on the Sunday programme, with a wonderful guy called David Winter, who was the producer, who went to.
I remember David very well. Yeah.
Really? Well,
I did concerts for him. Yes.
Well, there you are. Well, he went to the same church as me in Finchley, where a certain person.
I went to. It was Margaret Thatcher's church. I seem to remember.
You were, yes. But there was also a very other special member, and that was a guy called Cliff
Richard.
That's the one, yeah. And so it was because he'd recommended I went to his church when I met him. I said, I'm not as famous as you, but I've started trying to go to churches, and people say, oh, weren't you on the Morecambe and Wise show last night? Didn't I see you? And he said, well, come to my church because they've got me, and they're used to people like that. And that's how we became great friends. And David Winter, and together did a 6 weeks teleseries that we co-wrote. Anyway, that's another story for another occasion. So I moved into Radio 4, as I say, the Sunday programme, which David was producing. Then Radio 2, and then Radio 1. I'm not sure if that's progression or not. It might be.
Radio 1. What were you doing Radio 1?
Radio 1 was amazing. It was a series called Talk About, and it ran for 12 weeks. And it was we had 3 youngsters, and there was a topic every week. For example, should you have sex before marriage? I mean, whatever. And there was one of the youngsters who thought yes, and one who said no, and one who was undecided. And me and my special guest had to try and change this person's mind or help them to make up their mind one way or whatever. And we had all sorts of people co-hosting, people like Jonathan King, and Jimmy Savile was meant to do it on one occasion, but he didn't. And various others. Sorry?
Thank the Lord.
Well, yes. We worked with him on another show, though, which was amazing. Anyway, that's another story. We'll do another one of these. There's still a lot more stories.
We'll have to do at least another 2 hours on this.
I think this is very true. Anyway, so it was while I was doing that, and then I joined commercial radio. I worked in Radio Hallam in Sheffield for a while, doing a late night show. That was great fun because I got all sorts of guests who were appearing in the theatre across the road, the Crucible, and it was just an absolute ball to do. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then I came back to London and joined Capital Radio, where I was their religious affairs producer for quite a while. And then, of course, somebody came up to me and said, we're starting a Christian radio station. Will you come and be a presenter? And I was the first one they signed up, and that was Premier. And so that was my sort of whole thing. Anyway, throughout all of this, I suddenly got this feeling, and it was God-given, I know, but how it sort of got into my brain, I don't know. But I almost woke up one morning thinking, I want to be a priest. And there weren't women priests in those days. You could only be a deacon. I think that was the highest you could be as a woman. Yeah. And so I mentioned it to a few people who said it'll never happen, but maybe you're being called to be a deacon or whatever, or a lay reader or whatever it is. Pursue it, which I did. And it was just at the same time that Synod were talking about the whole idea of voting on women priests. And I applied, and I got turned down. And it was really weird because I felt God was calling me to do this, and then suddenly it wasn't going to happen. And it was like, what are you actually telling me, God? But I realise now that the timing was wrong, because I then went on to do other things, which I wouldn't have done had I been accepted for ordination. Anyway, the long and short of it is, 5 years later, by then there are women priests, during a communion service, I suddenly found myself crying. I know that sounds a bit feminine and naff and whatever, but it was unusual for me. And I
It
just
feels
felt,
quite normal, actually.
yeah,
I
I just
don't
suddenly
think
thought
it's
God
feminine
was,
or not.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Crying is a silly thing, but I don't do it very often. I just felt God was saying, have another go, just try again. Because the first time they turned me down, they didn't say I was awful. They didn't say anything bad.
Why had they turned you down?
They didn't feel I had a calling. They just, which of course is one of those things you can't argue against, can you really? Because I thought I had, they thought I didn't. But I do believe it was of God in the end. Anyway, cut a very long story short, I tried again, and this time I got through. Too old to do it for a living, but was offered a church locally. And that was the interesting thing, because where I was in my diocese in the Church of England, they were very, very anti-women priests, very. And so I served my curacy at a church, the only church in my area that would take me because I was a woman. And but people told me the wrong time of meetings in diocesan synod type meetings.
Sorry?
People told me the wrong time of the meeting so that I'd turn up late. Or the wrong date. I mean, it was really,
Cindy, that's terrible.
Oh, I mean, I tell you what, if you
childish.
talk to some of my talk to some of my fellow lady priests, they'll tell you worse stories than that. But it was a horrible thing. The other thing that was so painful. We trained together, a group of us, and there were a dozen of us. We got not ordained, deaconed on the same day at St Paul's Cathedral, and then a year later we all became official priests, and we all invited each other to our services. And one of the guys invited me to his. And normally the invitation said the colour of the stole to wear gold or white or whatever. But this didn't. So I rang up and said, and they said, oh, no, you just sit in the congregation. I thought, oh, well, that's different. That's fair enough. Didn't think anything about it. So I turned up at the church and I happened to walk in through the vestry rather than through the main door. And there were 8 or 9 men all robing. And I think I made the same sound you just did, Sue. It was like...
You just know, don't you?
What? And I went out.
Can I just stop you? Let me just stop you and ask you, just as a completely detached, how does that feel as a woman to be rejected so fundamentally and shut out at that moment? How does it feel?
It was horrible. And I was trying very hard not to cry and do the woman thing. I did not want to do that. But I was so angry. I was hurt more than angry, to be honest. I was hurt that they could feel they could do this and that I wasn't meant to take any notice. I was just meant to accept it. And I walked out into the church and the poor bishop was there. And I'm afraid I did actually tell him more or less how I felt. I wasn't rude or anything, but I hope he did feel the strength of it. But he himself was anti the idea of women. And there were lots of things like that in the early days. Driving home from it, I remember almost biting chunks out of the steering wheel. I was so angry. And then I just sat there and felt very, very hurt. But he didn't think there was anything wrong. Oh, I just wanted my man friends around me, and you sit in the congregation like it wasn't going to bother me.
It's just that leaving you as a sort of second-class citizen that they don't even see that is extraordinary now, isn't it?
I know.
But at the time, you had to really have a thick skin to get through it.
I mean, we are going back a bit, and unfortunately, I don't think that happens now. Although there are still a lot of priests who won't. Accept my calling and my vocation, and we've now got bishops in the same boat, and there are special people that that have ministered to them. And I mean, it's to me, I'm not being horrid. I think we should have said when the vote for women priests went through General Synod, we should have said as a church, okay, if you're in the church now and you aren't in favour, you can stay, but we don't take anybody new in. Because the rules have changed. I mean, if you joined a tennis club and they suddenly said, "Oh, from now on, you've got to always wear white," and you either go along with the rule or you don't. And it's the same. I mean, that's perhaps a bit of a crass one, but I can't think of anything else at the moment. But that's the sort of you join the club, you have the rules, and don't ordain anybody else. But on my training, there were 2 guys in my year who would not accept communion from the woman who was training us when it was her turn to take the service of Holy Communion. And you go through all the emotions of anger and hurt, and I've tried reasoning, I've tried having big discussions, but at the end of the day, this is where we are, and it must
is.
break God's heart. I think God must cry at situations like that. What's God doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, I know there may be possibly people out there right now who are on the right of the theological position, and what they do is they use a lot of scripture, the fact that women, I suffer a woman not to teach. They use verses. As we came from the Christian Brethren, and the idea of women partaking was absolutely, they can do the tea, they can teach children.
Yes.
But
They can even write hymns.
They can write hymns. And this was the irony. This was Fanny Crosby. Think about people like this.
They used all the female hymns.
You know, they use all the female hymns, but they would never allow women to partake. And I found it very interesting that there was no shift, and there's been no shift in a lot of people's position. They interpret the Bible in that way, and
Yes.
I completely acknowledge it's a reading. It is a reading. And so somehow I think there has to be accommodation. That's the trouble with Church of England. In some senses, it has to find some way of accommodating, and it doesn't know how to.
Well, it has. I mean, what it's done, it's got the two tiers in a sense. It's got those who do and those who don't. And so there are bishops still who will only minister to other bishops who have these views, and they don't have to. And they will. I mean, the awful thing is, when you get ordained, you have you place the hands on your head. And there are some places who, if you've actually placed your hands on a woman's head to ordain her, will not accept you because you've done that. And I mean, that's a bit like witchcraft, isn't it? That's a bit like black magic, as if there's something wrong with my head. Touching my head is going to make this person unclean or something.
They've done the deed. They've betrayed. They would look at it as they've betrayed first principles. And as I've talked to people about it, and that's how they feel. So it's a very, and I think eventually, though, what did you feel that? I mean, this kind of heading towards a wrapping up, because now we're talking about it's nearly 10 o'clock. Did you feel that having answered that call and having answered the ordination call, do you feel that your ministry over these years has been something that you genuinely felt the call was confirmed over those years of ministry?
Oh, with me, there's no doubt. And it's been confirmed time and time again in my head from what people have said. And sometimes it's been almost a throwaway remark I've made that has touched them. And I think a long time ago, I made I came to a realization that God made all of me, every little bit from the top of my head to the tips of my toes. And it was all set in motion long before I was born, but it was set in motion throughout my life. So I met the two guys at the folk club, which led to this and this and this and that and the other, which brought me to where I'm right here today. And along that way, I have learned all sorts of skills and arts and whatever that have all added to the whole that makes Cindy Kent. And so the fact that I stood on the stage at the London Palladium and sang to Princess Margaret enabled me to stand up this morning in Finchley Methodist Church as a visiting priest to take their service. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but to me,
it makes perfect sense.
It's the sum of the whole. It's the whole is the sum of all the parts that go to make up you and all of us. And every little skill I've learnt along the way has added to it. And time and time again, it's been reinforced in my mind that the call I got from God was real, and He's still using me today. Though the devil is a bit clever, and every now and again he'll come up and almost tap me on the shoulder before I stand up and preach and say, "What do you think you're doing?"
Yeah.
You know, because I don't hear a voice, but you think, what am I doing? Do I really think I can stand up in front of these congregation this morning and preach to them? And then you say, you know, not in my strength, but in God's strength. I'm not here as me. I'm here as a representative of God and, you know, doing His work. But yeah, it's time and time again, I do feel it's been confirmed that I'm doing it. And I love it. And the fact that I've come back here now to North London and I'm able to stand in for vicars when they're away. I mean, almost every Sunday I'm in a different church, which is lovely. A bit like being a grandma, you see, because I turn up and I do the gig and I walk away again.
Yeah. But that, without the responsibility, the day-to-day responsibility of running the whole thing. I mean, it's nice, isn't it? and you've got the grandchild. I mean, I think actually, can I just say, in confirmation of this, and I know there are many people who disagree with me, but I've never been one to really care about that too much. You stand in the great tradition of the prophetess Deborah, of the women in the New Testament all the way through. We see who was the first people that found out that Jesus was alive.
Michael Cooper and Gareth and
Gareth,
John
they're all
Bannon
saying
have all
the
been
same.
saying that. Yeah.
And actually, so when people are called in this way, you stand in the tradition, and it is a tradition, of great women of God who've stood up, have got the call, and have carried it forward. The naysayers, well, you will never, I will
Please,
say,
everyone.
you're never going to change their mind, and so don't waste your time doing it. I say just carry on, do what you're doing, Deborah. Cindy, you are, yeah, there we are, a little bit, Deborah.
Better change my name, I think.
Prophetess, you're a prophetess, Cindy. Just one before we go, and this is it, because I love to hear that, and I think actually people will be greatly moved. I think a lot of people will be moved to hear that, what you went through to get that. But one lighter note, you've had a few challenges at home. Just before I sing the last song, before Sue and I sing the last song, you had a little visitor, didn't you?
I've had two little visitors.
Yeah, I know you
actually.
fried the living Dallas out of me. Okay, I just want you to tell everybody. Go on.
One of them was that there seemed to be evidence of rodents, which I'd never had in my life before, here and there and whatever. And so I'd set traps and I'd put poison and all the rest of it. Nothing happened. But the worst one was walking into my bedroom and walking around the bottom of the bed, and there, sitting on my beautiful purple fluffy bedside rug, was this rat. I keep saying it was this big. It wasn't the massive, but it was just sitting there looking at me. And I slammed the door and ran and rang up my son and said, "I'm coming round to sleep at yours tonight." And he arrived and he put down a trap and he went back the next morning and got it. It was awful, Jonathan. And I mean, even now I won't go anywhere without putting the light on. But then it was horrid. And then a few weeks later, just before Christmas, I'd been out for a lovely afternoon with my sister and husband to the theatre. We'd had a great time, and I got back and I put the key in the door and opened it up, and at the end of the hall was a man standing at the entrance to the kitchen.
Oh, Cindy, no.
And I went, "What?" And he bolted into the bedroom and out through the window and over the fence and over the fence and over the fence and was gone. And I just froze. 999, bless them. They were there within 10 minutes. Don't go in, we'll go in. Banged on the door, taser, police, and all this bit. And he'd gone into my bedroom and he tipped all my jewellery boxes. Now, that makes it sound very grand. This is all fake jewellery, I hasten to add, all on the bed. Yes. But he'd opened my, can I say knicker drawer? Where I'd put
You
my
can say knicker drawer on this show, yeah.
Where I'd put my MBE, because I thought that was a safe place. And he'd taken it out of the box, torn the silver medal off and thrown the ribbon and the box on the bed with all the rest of his stuff.
Oh, no.
And he'd taken my wedding ring and my engagement ring and the only 4 things that were of any value there, because the rest of it I'd put in a green recycling bag in a box to take up to the jewellers to try and get it value. So he didn't know where that was, and that was amazing. And it was awful because you feel traumatised, don't you? It's just the most awful thing that somebody's been in your room and in your life. Yeah. And I mean, it was horrible, but people have been very kind. And I did get a replacement MBE, which probably sounds like pride, but I just thought I wanted to.
No, it's a special moment.
And just as a little PS, 2 very dear friends, just last Sunday, I hadn't known anything about this, but they just brought that into the conversation. "Did you ever get your replacement MBE?" "Yes." I said, "No. How much was it in the end? Do you mind us asking?" I said, "It was £80. And before I could say anything else, the guy had taken his wallet out and they opened my bag and stuffed £80. And they tried to get in touch with the palace to see if they could get the replacement and buy it for me as a gift, but you weren't allowed to. So they'd made up their mind that whatever it cost, they were going to give me the money for it. Now, isn't that a nice thing to do?
Isn't that beautiful? What you see is the wonderful nature of human beings, isn't it? So we see
they just do what they can to help at the right time.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's all you need.
Yeah,
and I wanted to say to you, this interview, I wanted to have you on for some time, and I responded. You were despondent one day, and I know actually it can be difficult. You have things like that. and they freak you out, and they leave you cold.
Well, they leave you questioning too, don't they?
They do.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And
Where's God
you just
in all this?
moved and
Yeah, where's God in all this? Exactly. You do. And you say, and it was something else, something that you and I, we couldn't do anymore. There was an event that we weren't doing or something. And I just wanted you to know that, Cindy, you are a valued person in your community and in the wider community. The things you've done and the things that you continue to do. And we love you in this community, and we love people love listening to you, sharing with you, and your value is not to be found in stuff or anything, but in you and who you are. All right? I just wanted you to know that.
Well, you're great. Thank you very much indeed. It's lovely when people affirm you, isn't it, like that? So bless you. And bless what you guys are doing. I mean, I know you bring joy to so many people, and our lives would be much greyer without people like you in the world.
Thank you. Well, that's what we do.
Thank
and
you.
that, Cindy, it's been lovely having you on tonight. We've got to say goodbye because a lot of people are going to bed, I think.
Yes.
But
Thank
before we
you.
do, they've had a lovely time with you. I know there's been some lovely messages, simply people writing in.
yeah, they've really enjoyed it, Cindy. They've
that's-
sort of been listening and paying attention, and just really enjoying what you've had to say. And some of the things have shocked, and some of the things have made people think. So thank you.
You're
Just
very
carry
welcome.
on doing what you're doing, babe. All right?
Just be yourself.
And you too, guys. Thank you. God bless you both. And
God
thank
bless
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. What a lovely interview. And I think we just finished tonight. We'll have the Lord bless you and keep you, and we're coming back next week with Adrian Pinnock, and who is the chairman, and a very, very interesting story he's got to tell as well. Don't forget, actually, he's the chairman of the trust, the YGAF. You've got a friend trust. If you have need of some help, then please contact us or YGAF. It will come up on the screen. And just remember that if you'd like to give to that continuously, as people are being helped so significantly through this at the moment, or because of your extraordinary generosity. But if you need some help, please just contact us. There it is up on the screen. And we'll see you next week at the same time. And send in your requests and dedications so I have time to look at them. I've got a busy week this week, but I'm going to be ready for you. You ready? And go peaceful in gentleness through the violence of these days. Give freely, show tenderness in all your ways. Will you join me soon?
I will.
Okay, here we go. Let's sing together. Join me if you know it. And through darkness, in troubled times, let holiness be your aim. Seek wisdom, let faithfulness burn like a flame. God speed you, God lead you, and keep you wrapped around His heart. May you I love. And we think this week to people who've requested King of Kings. I know that somebody has requested that. Indeed, it is well with my soul. We will sing those next week. Might be
Top of the
first on
list next week.
but we'd love you to send in those thoughts. But this week, if you are really suffering a little bit, then just grab hold of this lovely song. God speed you, God lead and hold you. And often that imagining, really does help a lot. And I pray for people who are having treatment, particularly this week, when they're feeling so lonely, and they're feeling lonely in the treatment, lonely at night particularly. That's when I remembered feeling the worst. So God keep you and hold you during those dark hours. Be righteous
Speak truthfully in a world of greed and lies. Show kindness, see everyone through heaven's eyes. God hold you, enfold you, and keep you wrapped around his heart. May you be known by love. God hold you, enfold you, and keep you wrapped around his heart. May you be known by love. Some more news, which is that we've got John coming on to do some
magic.
Some magic.
John Greenwood.
John Green, where's my
Magic
CD?
Man.
And he's
Funny
going to come on
magic
weekend.
takes away,
He's going to
really.
come on live on Zoom. So hopefully it's when Rachel's around that we can do it. And he's going to come on and do some of it is hilarious. I don't think it's. I hope it's meant to be hilarious. I think he's in bed by now, but I hope you're going to enjoy seeing him. It makes me laugh just doing a few magic tricks with another special guest. It's going to be a lovely program. Whenever we get programs, we do a lot for you, don't we? Don't we? We give it.
Works
Come on, want
hard.
some hearts.
He works hard.
I work hard trying to get the right guests for you people. And Derek Phillips, he's going to be very interesting
Yes.
indeed. First Christian rock group ever.
Ever.
And the Pilgrims, I think it was.
Yeah.
Written books and everything. Very interesting. Here we go. This is the song we've been singing for 3 years. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace and give you his peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord turn his face toward you. The Lord bless you and keep you and be gracious to you. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord turn his face toward you. The Lord bless you and keep you and be gracious to you and be gracious to you. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace and give you his peace. We also big thanks to Rachel, who's had a really
Yes.
hard-working
Yes,
day.
she's worked so
So-
hard tonight, this week.
God bless you all.
and see you next week.
Love you
8
all.
o'clock,
Thank you
same
for
time,
joining
same channel,
us. See you
Facebook
next
and
week.
the YouTube.